I'm Anil from UNDP Sri Lanka. Thank you for joining our discussion today on sustainable financing in transition to a more resilient world. Here with us today is Dr. Anil Perera. He is the Director, Domestic Operations Department, and he's also the Secretary of the Steering Committee to Sustainable Financing. And also here with us is Mr. Adheesha Perera. He's the Senior Manager to Sustainable Banking to STB Bank. Thank you so much for taking your time. A sustainable mobilization of public as well as private funding is required in the transition to a more resilient world. How has the banking sector taken proactive steps to implement sustainable financing roadmap?
Sri Lanka is a country that is heavily reliant on our nature, right? We are tourism revenue, our agriculture and plantation sector. All of them rely on the well-being of nature to sustain. And so how the sustainable finance roadmap comes in is that Sri Lanka has set a sustainable vision 2030. How as a country we would try to progress on different sectors, looking at aspects like climate change and biodiversity. So the roadmap has set timelines for action for 2025, 2028, 2030, and so on, where all the actors in the financial sector would need to take action. Biofin play a key role in understanding what the investment gaps are when it comes to certain key initiatives that we have to undertake to build, to restore our ecosystems and building that natural resilience. So we now, as a result of Biofin, we understand what the investment gap is, and through the central bank's roadmap, we have identified how we could kind of go into come up with new financial instruments like green loans, green bonds, and sustainable linked loans.
This roadmap, the roadmap you mentioned, how does this roadmap will impact the financing sector and the general public of a developing country like Sri Lanka?
Now, this roadmap proposes a series of strategic activities in relation to implementing sustainable finance in Sri Lanka. Now, we categorize these activities into 6 focus areas. The first and foremost, and obviously, the financing is the most important aspect, and also integration of these environmental, social governance aspects to financial markets. It's also one of the key areas. Financial inclusion, that is also a key area, and also capacity building, cooperation internationally, locally, as well as measurement and reporting. Now, what we think, realization of these actions under the roadmap will benefit the financial sector as well as public at large. Now, if you look at the financial sector in Sri Lanka, it is mainly led by banks. Now, banks or other financial institutions or the markets in any country, I think they are basically supporting the activities of economic agents, where their activities will have impact on the environment. So in that sense, enhancing the resilience of the financial sector and enabling the financial sector to adhere to some effective environmental, social, and governance risk management will ensure that the financial institution or the market itself creates some long-term benefits for the sector.
Thank you so much, Mr. Perera. Thank you both of you for taking time to be with us here today.